See, I can start with a smile because I put my teeth in. I kiss my wife goodbye. Happy Valentine's Day. Have a great day. The next question is, not have a nice trip, but did you put your teeth in?
Oh, yeah.
So,
oh, yeah.
I got my sandwich and I got my teeth in, and we're all set to go.
Around 1956, I think I found that, something like that.
But I didn't shave today, and I don't care. And it's February 12th, 2 days before Valentine's Day, Abe Lincoln's birthday. I'll never get used to President's Day, but I'm old school in many other ways, too, so it doesn't matter. Guess who we're visiting for the first time in I don't know how many years? Last time I saw Peter Regnier, I think we're standing in front of the Strand Theater, weren't we?
Oh, yeah, we did that. Yes, we did do that.
I don't even remember. Calvin remembers dates.
It was about 3 years ago. And you interviewed me downstairs here, and
yes, we
kind of
did.
gave you a brief showbiz bio of what I've done. But, yeah, it's been a while.
There's something I like even better than Peter, and that is this wonderful old house. How can you not feel at home when you step over the threshold here?
We love this place. We've been here 19 years.
How old is it? I asked you that before.
1919 or 1920, I think this house was built, yeah.
You're pushing 100.
Getting there.
I love it. So there's been a lot of water over the Regnier Dam since I met you a long time ago. I don't know what year that first program was, but Calvin remembers.
Oh, yeah.
Was it 90s or was it in the 2000s?
2000s.
But in any case, here you are.
We just finished with White Castle.
Oh, yeah,
White Collar.
White Castle.
I did eat it. When I was in New York City, I did eat at White Castle. I'll tell you, if you ever need to go to sleep and you're wide awake, just have a couple of those sliders. You'll be down in 20 minutes.
The North Country has a different idea of what sliders are. And that killed me when I first came up here in 1961. The sliders are little hamburgers?
Yeah.
No, in the North Country, they're dumplings. And they're either chicken or beef. And I was introduced to sliders by friends of mine in Peasleyville, the Marcotts, but that's a whole other chapter in the Gordy Little history. So, for the people watching this program who think of sliders as something that Gordy ate too many of 55 years ago, sliders are the little hamburgers, and yes, I've had a lot of those too.
Oh, they're good.
Oh, God.
They're good.
So anyway,
They're greasy.
we need updates. What have you been doing since the Strand days?
Well, I went back to college and got an associate's degree in human services
I'm proud of you, Peter.
with a 1-year focus on alcohol and substance abuse addiction. Graduated in December. Happy with that. And part of that whole process at Clinton Community College, which by the way, I'm sure you know this, that Advanced Manufacturing Institute is beginning. That's going to. Oh man.
I can't.
A $14 million project that's going to put that college on the map, statewide, even maybe on the East Coast.
I raised some eyebrows in Florida. We just got back from 30 days in Florida in Kissimmee. And, I love to promote this area because it has so many things going for it that I love. Not necessarily this cold weather we've been facing the last couple of days, but I talk about our community colleges because they've really come into their own over the last few years. And our Clinton Community College on the most beautiful bluff on the face of the earth.
Oh man, $1 million property.
But it's wonderful, and I love to see everything they do. Calvin and I have done a number of shows there over the years, and we'll do more.
Well, this is the 50th anniversary, and when it starts of the school's opening. So since I graduated, I was elected to the Alumni Association Board of Directors, and we have plans to promote the 50th anniversary.
You and Steve?
Steve Fredericks is by far one of the most influential people on the planet. He gets things done. But yes, Steve and the other members of the foundation and the board. I was just elected. Went to one meeting. We have another one in March. But
I love it.
We're going to team with Aaron Benner, Boyer Brenner Group. We're going to get a nice promotional package, and we have some events that are planned. And once they're finalized, we'll get them out there. But it's going to be a fun year.
It's
No
a
doubt.
great year, and Steve knows that I'm a big fan of that whole family and their wonderful compound, if you will.
He's not that far away from here. He's
I'm not.
over in West Shazy.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
You drive into the woods, and there's a little tributary that goes, and a little tributary, and Paul's over here, and I work with Paul a lot. He's a very brilliant guy and a good guy.
Good family.
So anyway, after that,
So while at Clinton, I got good grades. I graduated with 3.68. At one time I had a 3.88, but then we had these things called finite math and algebra, Math 100, which will ding your GPA. So I graduated with a...
certainly would ding mine after all my years in school.
I made it through. But well, the focus of what we're going to talk about today is this International Scholar Laureate Program, which was introduced to me through PTK, the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, which I became a member after my first semester. And I can't stress enough, and I have to the kids, and you know what? The fun fact is about 40% of the student population at any community college nationwide are returning adults, which are people well into their 30s, 40s, and
That's what I
50s,
like
and
about it.
60s.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of community college. It's there for everyone. And if you aren't up to snuff to enter a 100-level college class, everything's there that you need, the prerequisites right on campus. You take them, boom, bang, you get into a program. So I can't say enough how grateful we should be around here for the fact that we have North Country and we have Clinton Community College right there. But you know, while about a year ago, actually, I got an email, and it was from the International Scholar Laureate Program. And you know, you buy one magazine as a student, and you have a .edu address. You get emails going crazy. So I wasn't even sure if it was legit because I had never heard of this program, even though they've been doing trips, and we'll get into that, for 30 years. They're a global organization. So I got the email, and Barb Golden is treasurer. I love her. She's an enrollment specialist at the college, but she's also one of the faculty advisors, she and Chris Drennan, for PTK. So I sent her an email, and I gave her a call. I said, take a look at this. Tell me if this is legit. And she's like, oh, yeah, this is legit. You should take a look at the possibilities. So what I got was an invitation. You have to be nominated, and evidently Phi Theta Kappa nominated me. There's international delegations in engineering, medicine, cultural affairs, nursing. There's a big nursing program.
Oh, yes.
They travel all over the country and all over the world, and it's 2-week seminars. Some of them are a little longer, where you're immersed in the culture of the country. You learn about well, it's a long history. I went to China.
I think it's so
You
cool.
get like 5,000 years of civilization there, so that's a pretty thick book, and you can't get it all in 2 weeks. But Barb said go for it, and I wrote a couple of letters to apply for scholarships, and I had to give my wife my laptop and say, would you read this, please? Because I don't know if this is real. And she said, well, it looks like you got a $3,000 scholarship to go to China. Well, I wasn't sure I was going to partake in the program because it's a bargain, but it's still expensive. And that was the deciding factor. So I borrowed a little bit of money and packed up and went. And it truly, people say, a trip of a lifetime. But what we're able to do and what other students and other programs are able to do, and the access you get to people, places, and things, I don't care how much money you have. You can't buy your way into the Chinese Ministry of North American Affairs on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. I don't care how you stand there with bags of money, and they're like, go away, like the guy in The Wizard of Oz, looking through those. Get out of here.
Yeah.
So what the trip brought as far as that access is unmatched.
When was it, Peter?
I left here on June 2nd and came back on June 15th. So it's about 13 days.
It's only right.
And we saw some things and met some
So who
people.
went with you? Did you have a local contingent, or would you?
I am the only person from Clinton Community College that has ever gone on the International Scholar Laureate Program.
I wonder why. Is that just because it was the right thing at the right time for you? And
I
telling the
believe
place,
I
or
believe so.
Have they not promoted it heavily enough here? or
I don't
what?
think they were aware. They're promoting it now because I
Oh, of course they are.
I put on a couple of. I was in the paper on the front page.
Yeah,
Nice
I know.
picture with me and some kids in Xi'an.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't. It just didn't happen. I got to believe that some students in the past got the email invites because there have been kids like Crystal White. She graduated 4.0. If you're going to tell me that she didn't get invitations for scholarships in places like this, I don't know if she specifically got an ISL invitation, but I'm sure, my point is, I'm sure that kids in the past with high grades got that and then just looked at it and said, I just can't do this, and then moved on. So I'm the first one that acted on it, I think. No one can remember another ISLP
They're
candidate.
wonderful. So you plowed some new ground. It was a trip of a lifetime, and I bet you didn't want to come home.
Well, I wanted to. We left. We finished in Hong Kong, and let me politically correct this. I wanted to come home to my wife, of course, but I could have stayed a few more days in Hong Kong. It wouldn't have killed me.
Okay, let's pause for a moment. Well, I've got my lapel mic adjusted. Peter's got his on, and we got this thing hanging in the middle of it. But I can't twitch it anymore, so I won't break the cord today. All right, where were we, Peter?
Well, we were talking about how I was introduced to this program, and after I got the scholarship, you make arrangements, you go through Envision. The programs are pre-planned. Like I said, they've done it. You mentioned Calvin's been doing Hometown Cable since '82, I think.
83.
83?
Who's counting?
But who's counting? Yeah.
I think ISL is '85. So right before the Mets won the World Series in '86.
I knew he'd get it in
Sneak that
before
one
we
in there.
left.
But all the programs are set. You have faculty advisors that go with you. The one question you asked before the break about did we go with a North Country contingent? No, there were students. Let's see. My program, our group had 40 delegates with the international diplomacy. That's the group I went. We also had engineers and the medical profession. There were 15 engineers and 12 medical folks. So they had their own program. We all stayed at the same hotel. We all ate at the same time. But in the morning when we went our separate ways, my group went somewhere, the other group went somewhere. But we do social things together at night. But they had a specific program. For instance, there's this dam in China called the Three Gorges Dam, which is the largest dam in the world.
Heard about it.
And when they filled it, the earth actually wobbled. NASA measured it. It wobbled for 3 days because they filled up this giant pool so far north on the globe that it just made the earth unsteady. That's how big this thing is. The engineering students went there. My group went to, I mentioned it, the Ministry of North American Affairs in the morning on a Saturday and listened to the director talk about international relations with China and America. And we went to the Shanghai Institute of International Studies, which is a think tank, and we talked about the South China Sea and what's going on there. The medical kids went to a research hospital in Shanghai. They went to a lab, a high-tech lab when we were in Beijing. The engineering kids went to a jet engine manufacturer. So we all went to our career-specific classroom settings, as you will, during our times during the day. And we did go to some things. Like each group would go. Like we went to the Great Wall of China. But the other kids didn't go the same day we did. So we did things differently. And like I said, they had specific teaching environments. It is really, it was very eye-opening for me, and I had a great time, and I had a lot of wow factors. But I can't stress enough, and I held an assembly at Clinton Community College to have kids come in and give them a primer on what to watch out for. There were a lot of things that I had to deal with: airline reservations, getting a visa, a lot of things, and I have the answers now to streamline that, so those kids don't have to deal with the situation. So I said, look, here's what
Get
you
together
do.
with Sister Debbie.
Is she a travel agent?
Well, no. Sister Debbie could qualify easily to become a travel agent. She's run the North Country Mission of Hope to
Oh.
Nicaragua for how many years now?
Oh, how great is that?
And well, she'll talk to you about airline woes.
Oof.
She doesn't swear, but if she did swear,
I'll
she would
bet.
have a few choice epitaphs
I'll
for
bet.
for traveling. And this year was no exception. They were trapped again in airports, and she's just one of those precious souls who goes back again and again to try to help some little child or some
That's
pregnant
outstanding.
woman in Nicaragua. And they've done a magnificent job. And Calvin and I have interviewed literally hundreds of kids who've gone. And it's not part of this program, but it's on the same wavelength, because when these kids, and some are actually adults in college now, it used to be one school, now it's many schools,
Right.
life-changing experience. We live in a materialistic society, and that's how they were brought up. Most of these kids who had to raise their own money to make the trip, and they come back, and one of the first kids we ever interviewed, what do you want to do with this experience? He said, I want to become a missionary. Whoa!
Wow.
But
It is life-changing.
it is moving when you meet somebody who's so less fortunate than you. But you make me drool.
Geez, you want a napkin?
Yeah, because of your magnificent life experience. Who knows what chapter of our lives what it's gonna prepare us for when the page turns. And you've turned so many pages, you've almost worn the book out, but you're gonna live another 70 years. So,
Outstanding. I'll take
but
that.
I am. Calvin knows this because he's the same way. We're both passionate about history. He spent the greater part of his adult life chronicling North Country history.
He's spending a great
spending.
Oh, yeah.
Lot-
It ain't over yet.
There's a lot of spending. But then you go to China. We think we have a rich history in this country, and
Oh.
we do. But then you go to China and add a few thousand years on top of this meager history that we've accumulated here in America.
Well, the Chinese have certainly gone through changes that, we think we've had changes in this country.
Well,
It's
the last
nothing.
10 years in China. As we're doing this on the 12th day of February 2016, our stock market has been giving me fits.
Uh-huh. Me too.
For my meager retirement money in there. And I asked somebody who's supposed to know why, and all they said was China.
Yeah, China. 6 months ago was we were worried about the growth of the Chinese economy and how it was going to, bully their way, slap us around a little bit. That economy has shrunk in 6 months so much. It's
Frightening.
It's frightening
really,
people now.
really frightening.
Just in 6 months it
Yeah.
changed.
So you made some lasting friendships.
I did. Let's
You were-
take a.
You were so impressed. What was your role? Have you defined it exactly?
Student.
Just
I was a student. That's part of it.
you didn't have to teach any seminars or anything while
Oh
you
God,
were
no.
there?
Um,
What do you mean, oh God, no?
well, what am I? What am I? Who?
Who are you going to teach in China?
Right. I did try to school a very nice young man at the Shanghai Institute of International Studies when he said, "Oh, don't worry, those islands we're building in the Pacific are nothing to worry about." And I was like, "Really? Let me tell you a little story." Other than that, no, I was a student. And being an older student, we had older students. We had a woman, Rhonda, from Australia. She was in her 50s. New Zealand. They came from all over the world. We weren't just from the United States and all over the United States. And there was a girl from Canada, somebody from Brazil, Argentina.
Wow.
So we were international. But, being older, of course, I would talk to some younger kids and take on a mentoring role. But I certainly didn't teach anything. Not at all. Here's
Humility's a virtue, Peter. You know that. So what do you got?
This is out the window of all Nippon Airlines on my way to Tokyo. And you ask, now why would you fly to Tokyo. Well, United Airlines. I don't want to get into a slander situation, but if you can help it, never ever board a United Airlines plane. I was a day and a half late getting to Beijing. I missed going to Tiananmen Square. I
You're
missed
kidding me.
missed it.
There's your first history lesson down the toilet.
I missed a traditional Peking duck dinner. Now you can have Peking duck here in Plattsburgh. It's not the same thing, obviously. We had that. I missed the opening ceremonies. You know, the addresses from people. I missed that because of United Airlines, and I won't get into the details. But once I finally got out of Burlington and I got to LaGuardia, they canceled my flight to Beijing. And they said, oh, we'll get you out of here in a day and a half. I said, oh, no, you won't. So the first trick I told these kids when I gave them the seminar when I got back was always use a travel agent. Never book a flight or a trip like this on Expedia or what's the other one? You know. Those websites. I mean, it's fine. You're going to get it.
I'm not going to mention any of that
You're
stuff.
getting on a
You're
plane.
the man of the hour, Peter.
But you need a travel agent, because then I called him and I said, look, this is crazy. So what they did was I got booked. I actually got a United Airlines employee. I'm not saying they're all bad. He called one of those black cars, taxis, and I went over to Kennedy. Now that's a $40 ticket right there. That cost.
Sure.
He had that paid for it. And from Kennedy, I left on AllNet, which is a Japanese airline. I flew to Tokyo, sat there for 3 hours, and then flew out of Tokyo to Beijing. Otherwise, I've been another day and a half late. So this is on the way to Tokyo. And, you know, it always looks like this above the clouds, right? It's beautiful stuff. See, there's I took this picture from the the cabin.
Of course.
And there we are going to Tokyo, which was kind of cool. I was there when I was in the Navy. That was kind of neat. There's Tokyo International Airport. That's my cat in the background with a respiratory ailment, if you hear her. There's some cool artwork
Look at this. I love it.
in the airport.
3 hour wait.
No, I needed one of those. But you know what? I didn't have any yen. I had a pocket full of money, but I couldn't use that, and it didn't take a card. If you can believe that, in Japan of all places, not taking a card
Wow,
or anything.
that is amazing.
You would think you'd just swipe it and
Oh,
sit there all
sure.
day, but that didn't work. I thought that was neat. You can rent these rooms where you can go sleep for a while, and they have showers. They're like little tiny hotel rooms. Rent them for a little while. If you have a long layover, why go to a hotel? You
Yeah,
spend
that's a
some
great
money there.
idea.
Now what is this? Oh, that's leaving Tokyo to Beijing. There's the little route, a 3.5 hour flight. A little map on the. We're flying over the Great Wall on our way into Beijing. And here's some pictures from Beijing. This is the Beijing airport at 1 in the morning. This is mostly people from our flight though, because it was a 747. It was full, so that's at customs, which was a breeze. You have the paperwork done properly. They're fine. You know, it takes a little bit to get a visa. I've got one. I can go in the country for 10 years.
Oh, no kidding.
I think
didn't
that's
know that.
standard now. That
Oh,
if
wow.
they okay for a visa, you get 10 years.
That's great.
So that's pretty neat. There's just a little flavor of the airport. This is the place we stayed at in Beijing. Beautiful hotel. They were all 4 and 5 star places with 2 meals a day, taken care of, the breakfast, and then either lunch or dinner. It depended on what the plan was for the day, and then you were on your own for the third one. Look at this chandelier in the lobby. Looks like it was made at Schonbeck, right?
Unbelievable. Is
It's
that
Swarovski
amazing?
now. That's something. Here's that's what it's shown on the floor. That's pretty cool. Real nice. Some artwork in the lobby. As you can see, it's all marble and 3 floors. There's the 2nd and 3rd floor behind that. That's where we ate breakfast every morning. Pretty good.
That's not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all. And there are a lot of palm trees in in China.
Yes, there are.
This is in the elevator, cooking show in the elevator. Talk about fast food, right? It's, I thought that was hilarious. This was outside, little open market. Just you come out of the hotel and you take a right, and this is where you went. That's a great. I love that picture. It's so colorful, and there's fresh food.
So many things going on here.
Oh,
Yeah.
beers are 88 cents in Beijing, and needless to say, some of these kids took full advantage of that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that is. Could be a disco or a time machine, like I said there. I'm not sure what's behind that door. I just found it interesting. Here's some the giant art. I don't know what this is, a 15-story building that was outside the hotel. Some of the architecture in all of China in these cities is just pretty incredible. They call that the short pants building. That's where the Chinese television network's headquarters are in that building. CCTV. That was pretty cool. That was just an ad for a movie. I'm not sure which one that was. It might have been a Transformers movie, actually. Who knows? And we went, on our first day, we went to the Olympic site, which was interesting. Here's a little map of the grounds. And that's the bird's nest, as we know. It was raining that day, but the air pollution in these major cities in China is mind-boggling.
Oh, I read about it. I can't imagine.
We'll get to some pictures in a little bit here from Shanghai that you'll look out and you can't see 2 miles, and it's.
You wonder how short their lives are just for that reason.
They must be.
We're
What?
fortunate up here.
The government probably doesn't care. You got all those people over there, and it diminished their population, the less mouths they feed. But we didn't get to go inside here, and I really wanted to, but we were on our way.
Quite a structure, isn't it?
It's pretty cool. We all enjoyed it. This was the outside of a traditional tea parlor. And this is I think I have some shots of the tea ceremony. This is a cool building. This was like the bird's nest is over here, and if you turn your head, you got this. And called the Dragon Building because they specifically designed it to look like a dragon. Dragon's a big part of Chinese culture. It's just another neat building in Chinatown, and I'm like, what? And we're, big mall. And of course, the Hello Kitty is freaking everywhere. This is a giveaway at McDonald's. It's kind of funny. Just some architecture outside of Beijing. Nice little traditional yard. I really like
Isn't
that.
that beautiful?
That was
just
beautiful. Of a traditional thing. This is the embassy of Iceland and Estonia. They share an embassy, and we went there for an address on the history. Iceland has probably, when you talk about Western nations, the longest comfortable relationship with China over any of us. Trade,
who would
economy.
have guessed? I wouldn't.
I didn't know it at all. I'm not sure what that building is. A cool little. Wouldn't mind having one of those.
Can you imagine?
Wouldn't go so
you
well
can make it
today.
to Calvin's house and lickety split.
Right?
I love it.
Just another building where it just folks out there. They had like a karaoke little PA kind of thing. No one sang, but they were just out dancing. There's if you wonder where all your chicken wings come from, there it is, the King Wing. It was right outside our hotel. See, there's the air quality. That's smog. Yeah. That's a sunny day. This was taken on a Saturday, where the sun was out, and there's the air in Beijing. Just some other sights that we saw, and this is one of those moments where I had to pinch myself. I saw one of my faculty advisor on the wall, and at the end of the entire program, my advisor asked me to give the speech, the address about wrapping it up and what we got from our trip. And during it, I said that I found my faculty. We scattered. I found my faculty advisor on the Great Wall, and during my address, I said to the kids, I said, we have to remember that we walked on the Great Wall of China. We didn't go to a Disney World reproduction. We were on the Great Wall of China, and sear that into your memory. Because, you never, hopefully we get to go back at some point, or we get to go experience something else. There are trips to Australia. They go to the Great Barrier Reef. These are things that,
How many walls in the world can you see from space? And think about the length.
I think
For
it's
this
this
wall.
one. There might be one on Calvin's Field, some stone wall back there behind the house that we might be able
We
to
got some
check
good
out.
stone walls, but we have nothing that compares with this Great Wall.
This
Just
is one of the gates. This is near Beijing. This is about 45 minutes outside of Beijing.
some parts of it they're in wonderful shape, and some
Oh,
parts are not.
And some parts are in ruin, yeah. But a lot of it's in good shape, and of course this portion is in good shape. You can see it. It's tough climbing that thing, I'll tell you. You get up into here, and just look. I had climbed this, and then you go down here, and I had to climb up to get here, and then you go. There's a.
How much
steps on
freedom
the
did
other
you
side.
have to go a long ways there? Did you?
Well, they told us you have 3 hours to get back to the bus.
Oh, that was it. It was a time.
Go.
Yeah.
You know, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, I
So,
know how that works.
and there's proof that I was there. Yay.
Photoshop.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. This is, you go here for forever, and then, and then it disappears on the other side. So that was something.
1 day, 2 days. How long there? on the
Oh, we
Great
were
Wall?
only there 1 day
Oh,
for
my.
about a grand total of 4 hours.
Oh my gosh.
You can see it's a tourist attraction. It's a tourist attraction.
Of course it is.
Mostly Chinese, but there are, Westerners all along the wall. It was something. You hear about it all the time, and these are the mountains behind us. The wall goes through that too, around those.
Talk about an engineering feat at the time. Wow.
It
Boggles
took
your mind.
2,500 years,
Yeah.
I think, from beginning to end. 4 emperors. These are just flowers. I took it at an angle like that, so they look like trees.
You're cool.
That's great. 2,500 years, 4 emperors.
There's a piece of artwork, and
Yeah, they were old.
Yeah,
Those
600
guys
years,
lasted a long
600
time.
it's a big, of course it's a big, oh, there it is. My certificate of about.
What does it mean, fell twice?
Yeah, right. About 1.5 miles at the most is what I went on that.
Really?
Yeah. It was 95 degrees.
Oh, really? No kidding.
Yeah, and it's steep, and they're suggested steps, but really all they are is just little tiny level
just little
points and a
gradients.
ramp. Yeah, little
Yeah.
gradients. Good word. And that, that's not easy to manipulate. It's I don't know where we're going. Probably going to Shanghai now. I'm glad I didn't go on OK Airlines because the airline's okay. Okay, good. Thanks. Then we go to Xi'an, which is the oldest city in China, I believe. And it's more centrally located. I love this building. This was in the
Wow.
Muslim district. Now, I was surprised. I'm not all that surprised because there's Muslims and Christians all over the world. But I was surprised to hear how many Muslim Chinese there are. And it's something I never thought I'd ever hear, is there's a large population of Chinese Jews. And I'm like, what? But it's true.
It's amazing. We just don't
Isn't
know.
that something?
We just don't know enough about it.
Jews.
My knowledge of China, a lot of it was acquired before I got out of grade school.
Most of us, yeah. There are
And
some in
the
high
National
schools and
Geographic
stuff.
magazines and so
Right.
on. But it's just the world has changed, as you said, so much, especially in China. and our relationship with China in the last 10 years have changed so much. I think we would do well to learn a little bit, all of us,
Well,
about what we're dealing with in China.
it's a fascinating country, and as a matter of just before you guys came, I had a half an hour, 45-minute video interview with Envision and the International Scholar Laureate Program to go back this summer as a paid staff member. I was so moved by it, and the interview went well, and I have a second interview. So usually a second interview means you kind of wrap up a job. So, knock on wood.
Peter, we'll send them a copy of this, no question.
Okay.
Well, who knows what an
But
impact
I want to
Hometown
go.
Cable will have
I
on
could
it.
go anywhere they send me, but I prefer to go back to China.
Oh,
I really would like to.
It's like a good hors d'oeuvre.
There's so
see
much to consume.
Oh my
There,
goodness.
there's still so much left. And this is the Muslim Quarter, which that building was in. It was
that's
at the end.
That's my little chapter, my historical précis today of the fact that there's a Muslim quarter. Never would have known that.
In the oldest city
I
of
would have
China.
failed that test for sure. Never would guess
And look
that.
at the streets.
Yeah.
I mean, they're packed, and a lot of these are shops that you could buy clothing and whatnot in there. But there's so much food. All this is coming from people from little vendors that are cooking. That was so much. That was so much fun. I have Calvin was nice enough to lend me his digital film camera, and I probably have 10 hours of video, and I've got a lot from this.
You mean there might be another
Chapter.
chapter to this?
There could be.
I'd love
Like,
to
look
see
at
it,
this.
Peter.
These guys are cooking.
Oh man. Well,
I mean, it's so colorful.
we're with you vicariously. I love it.
There's a little, like a bodega, a Chinese bodega. They've got fresh fruits and vegetables in there. A lot of, they're very, tea is a big thing for them, and
Oh, sure.
also roots, like ginseng.
Yep.
Things like roots like that. Look at the sticks for his barbecue. I mean, it's like a freaking tree branch for crying out
It's
loud.
amazing.
But
You need to answer that, Gordy?
Yeah, let's pause a sec. And that that telephone call you heard was not in any way proof that I'm an important person. It was just some idiot dialing the wrong number or
well,
whatever.
they might dial it again.
Well,
We'll
who
see.
knows? We're back on. Where were we, Peter?
Well, we're having lunch in Xi'an at this place, which was it's a dinner theater, and
Wow.
it was beautiful. There's one of the buffets. They had 2 dragons.
Oh, look at
That's
this.
one of them.
We were just talking about buffets in Florida and how I gained 20 pounds.
Oh my
Oh,
God!
I would gain 20 pounds just walking down the aisle.
Go crazy. There's a view from the stage as we turn around and
Oh.
take a look, and
Oh,
it's just it's pretty big. It looks bigger than maybe it really is. That's a pretty large downstairs. It was good. What is this? Oh, this is the wall in Xi'an. There used to be. This is a view from the wall in Xi'an, and what they were their perimeter walls. And if you were going to attack Xi'an, you'd have to go over one wall, then you go over another wall, then you go over another wall, and this is the last intact remaining wall in the city. And as you can see, this is about the width, although it's a little bit wider at the top, but these are fairly significant walls. There's a building, it'll go that way, and then it makes a rectangle around the city, and it's about like it's wider than a road. It's like a 2-lane highway.
wow.
Easy. You break down lanes left and right. That's how wide it is. In Xi'an is one of my favorite visit in this whole thing, besides the Great Wall, was the Terracotta Army. That was
Oh, can you imagine me as a young person seeing a picture of that for the first time
wow.
and imagining that they're taken, I don't know if they're taken from real life, but to find these things in the first place,
They are
Wow.
the
Just
facial images, and there was a lot of things
amazing.
a lot of stories about them. This
Look
is
at-
the main building
just
where
look at this. This is
there's
incredible.
8,000 soldiers in there. and through sonar technology, this is the site. This is the Emperor's site.
Yes.
And they say there's probably 20 to 25,000 more in the ground.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
And just the site of this.
If our viewers have no idea what we're talking about, you got to learn how to Google this.
Well, I'll give you a quick just a quick bio on him. But the emperor at the time, and his name escapes me, but he was emperor at 13 years old, and he was paranoid like you don't want to believe. So he was afraid of enemies, living and dead. So this army was began to protect him in the afterlife, and his burial site is a city that they told us in China had, you want to talk about dangerous chemicals in your life. There were rivers and horses and things. Rivers, they didn't have water in them. It was mercury. Can you imagine? In this underground
And
monolith,
we're worried about the old thermometers.
Uh,
Oh,
a farmer was just digging in
that's
digging
it.
in this field, and he found a head. He thought it was a pot or a pan, a ceramic pot or pan, and then they dug it. Now the rumor was that every single soldier has its own face. That's, well, they do, but that they were unique. Like if they got 30,000 people. Well, the truth of the matter is there's 7 or 8 different patterns, and then that's it. So there's 7 or 8. So out of the 20 or 30,000, there's 8 different.
Just the sheer numbers.
8 different. This
They're
is
buried for how many years? Do we think?
a couple thousand anyway.
Yeah.
This is an area in the museum and that big building, which is the size of like Reliance Stadium,
Yeah,
where
sure.
the Texans play in the NFL, and they're all numbered and they're undergoing some repair or whatnot. You can see there's old number 6.
That's a great picture.
There's some guys lost their head, so they're putting them together for display. There's some parts that have been unearthed. This is an active archaeological site
Oh,
too.
can you imagine? Talk about wonders of the
Oh,
ancient world.
It's so
Dear
it was
gosh.
so amazing. And here's some more here's the back
I
end
never
of the building.
dreamed. I would have been here at 12:30 if I'd known you were going to do this, Peter.
Here's
This is true excitement for me. Really great.
That's the front of the building. Here's all the way back, like backstage at the Terracotta Army. It just is. That's why I want to go back to
A
China.
total of how many? 25?
They guess about there's another 20 to 25,000 in the ground. There's 8,000 up.
8,000.
There's 8,000 in this building.
My.
And there's a museum attached to it, a different building that's a lot of fun, and that's the way out. But the Terracotta Army was truly a mind-blowing experience.
That would do it for me. That
It's
and
like,
the wall
wow.
would be all I would need for a couple of weeks.
Unreal. Yeah, but when you see Shanghai, which we're on our way to now, here's
Okay, let's go.
their
That's
groups
great.
on China Eastern Airline, which Chris Drennan is a professor up at Clinton Community College, and he works in China. He has a part-time gig. He goes over there twice a year for like 5 weeks when Clinton's off, and works. And he looked at my itinerary and saw the airlines, and he goes, "Oh yeah, China Eastern's okay. They're one of the safer airlines in China."
That's
It's
nice.
like, okay, Chris, thanks.
That's comforting.
So then we'll go to Shanghai, which 20 years ago was a fishing village, and it still is. But this skyline this didn't exist 20 years ago. It was all little shanties and fishing boats that look like miniature junks. This is all, and it just keeps going and going and going. This was the tallest building in the world 3 years ago, but there's 2 more taller now. This is Shanghai Tower. This is the World Financial Center, and they call it the bottle opener building because,
Sure.
and this is so the dragon can pass through. This is an antenna. This is a television antenna in Shanghai. This is pollution. This is a clear day in Shanghai. Well, you can't see forever, but you can see for about 3 miles. There's that's
so you
the
could
harbor.
never see blue sky there?
Maybe on the weekend, and maybe maybe with some strong breeze. We saw blue sky in Hong Kong because it's on the ocean.
Yeah.
And it's a little less polluted. This is the base of Shanghai Tower. The buildings are phenomenally gorgeous. See, here's the observation deck, which is 100 stories up, 12 more than the Empire State Building. And I believe the Old World Trade Center. I'm not sure what the Freedom Tower observation deck is, but this is 100 stories up, and they said it's the highest one in the world. So I guess I'll take their words for it. But look at this. That's smog.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
We're right next to the river, and you can barely make out a building on the other side of it.
That is incredible.
So needless to say, Chinese. This is an outdoor mall in brand new, but they built it in old traditional style in Shanghai. That people have. There's an artist that took a vacuum cleaner, and all this he did was intake air in Beijing for, I believe it was a month. And at the end of the month, he had a solid, like a cement block size. It looked like a cement block, and all it was made of the air that he took in with the vacuum cleaner in Beijing. Unbelievable. This is very colorful. This was neat. Again, this is on what would be a sunny day, and you can see.
Sure.
You think it might start raining. There's some colorful. They do love their art,
Oh, yeah.
and the culture is wonderful. These are all herbs and spices that are all part of Chinese lore.
Well, the herbal history. I have a granddaughter who's a doctor of herbal medicine and acupuncture who studied in Beijing
Oh,
with
really?
the Grand Masters for a long time.
Excellent.
The first person I ever saw sitting on the Great Wall of China. That's the first photograph she sent back, and I treasure it on my wall. I have it blown up.
That's a good one.
But herbs, and this is what they do. This is how they heal people with these ancient herbs.
And the thing with tea is they don't grind it up and put it in bags like we do. There's and we have them here too. Where you take real big full leaves and you put them in a little brass thing and you put it in your hot water. Well, they use it about 6 times, and then after that, when it's not really good tea, they wet it and they put it. Some of the teas, some medicinal, they lay it on their skin, and it's good for your skin. They use that tea leaf until it can't be used anymore, and then they grind it up and throw it on plants as fertilizer. Look at this hand carved.
Oh my!
Look at this. Is it?
Oh,
What is that? A lamp on a? This thing was huge. This whole display was probably 10 foot wide and 5 foot high, and look at that expressions on the faces.
Oh my!
And I believe this was teak. I think is what the base wood
Oh, it's
was.
wooden. Oh, I thought it
It's
was
amazing.
marble. No kidding.
The smallest McDonald's in the world, I think, right there. Huh? Look at that. They're everywhere. Starbucks are everywhere too. I just like that sign. It's part of the financial center in Shanghai. Now we went to the Shanghai Circus. Everybody
Did you
went.
really?
Oh my!
World famous.
Oh my!
Oh my! You're right. Oh my!
Unbelievable. Some of the things, and you know what? This is one of the things I did that I was told not to do. Which I had a real camera and I didn't have a phone. They said, no videos, no pictures. I'm sure what they were thinking of. When you go to see something and you got these people and they have their phone up and it's a white screen and you're sitting behind a person. At that and the flash, I'm sure they didn't want around. And I had none of those things. And I just took a few pictures. But it was just, it's just mind-bending. And you would think it cost a lot of money. It wasn't that expensive to go to Shanghai Circus. And look at this. It's beautiful.
Experience.
Just for the visual.
Yep.
And then we finished in Hong Kong, which is, in my opinion, the most beautiful city in the world. I love New York, but this place is unbelievable. And when I was in the Navy, my ship went to Hong Kong in 1979. We were there for 3 days, and we anchored out here somewhere because our ship was too big and the pier facilities were not suitable for us. That has totally changed. I mean, Hong Kong was a very developed city then, and it is, oh my. It's a harbor, and there's a whole lot of shaking going on there. Trust me. And the thing about China was the lack of the people's. They're not allowed to get on Facebook. They had it there, and then there was some cultural revolution a few years ago, and that people started getting a little antsy, and the Chinese government was like, nah, that's different in Hong Kong. You have that. But here's the funny thing I found. I'm in Beijing. You're going to love this. I'm in Beijing. You can't get on Facebook. I could call home because I had a package I paid for, and I called and talked to my wife 10 or 15 minutes a night. You couldn't get Facebook or Tumblr or Twitter or any of that, but you could get MSN.
Ha! Come on, you're kidding me.
You could get MSN. You couldn't get ESPN, but
How
you could
does
get
that-
MSN.
how the heck does that
MSN has
work?
every Western news story imaginable.
Isn't that incredible?
So my third day
In
there,
China.
I click on MSN, and I see this thing come across. 2 convicts escape prison.
Oh, there you were.
I look over here, and it says Dannemora, New York, and I'm like, what? And then I'm coming back, and I forgot to tell this man who I'm going to mention here in a second when I saw him at the new Star Wars premiere. I'm sitting in waiting for my plane in Hong Kong, and I look up and CNN's on the television, and who are they interviewing? Andrew Wiley. Here I see Andy Wiley on TV in Hong Kong.
Jerk you back to reality in
Like,
about
oh
1
my-
second flat.
That's, when people were talking about that prison escape, I'm like, that's my home.
Yeah.
That's the North Country.
Oh, yes.
It was pretty amazing. No Facebook, but I can see which Channel 5 ought to be starting their 1-year anniversary of Escape from Dannemora.
I wouldn't be surprised
saga
if
continues.
you're watching this saying, oh, no.
Oh, no, you know what? We ought to start planning for that.
Yeah.
On this day, a year ago. So here's Hong Kong. That's the same picture at night.
Yeah.
Very,
Just-
very lit up
just
city.
great. I love it.
It's
Look at
gorgeous.
this. I love the color.
You know, all these buildings. And
There's a
that's
little blue sky
yes, because Hong Kong's right on the ocean.
the water.
And those sea breezes will get you a little clean air. This is a tram ride up to the Victoria Peak, which overlooks the city, and you'll see some stunning. Look at that. There's Hong Kong from. That's $1 million view, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
This is all Hong Kong in Hong Kong Harbor. It's truly amazing. I love that city. When we were flying in, I actually got choked up because when I was in the Navy, my shipmates and I, we all loved the places we went, and we went halfway around the world and back. And one of them was Hong Kong. It's like, geez, boy, wouldn't you love to come back here? And I'm like, boy, someday.
And most of those guys you were with will never get
They've
the
never
chance.
been back. The guys that stayed in the Navy and did another, when my ship went on a similar tour, went back. But other than those guys, none of them went back. There's a Facebook page for my ship, and they're all jealous.
Of course they are. Keep them that way.
It was pretty cool. Here's some lookout points.
Look at the water. Look at that picture.
That's
You couldn't compose a better picture than that.
I
Yeah.
know. That's in Kowloon, and
Oh,
in
come
Kowloon is
on.
where all the fishermen are. We stayed in Kowloon. They're still building. They're not done. Trust me. They are not finished by any means. Those are all apartment buildings on the water. This is outside the floating. I hope this is the floating restaurant. It is. That was there. I saw this place. We ate dinner. We ate lunch in there. It's a floating restaurant in Hong Kong Harbor, and these are the boats that shuttled you from the mainland out. There's the little where you board the boats to go to the restaurant, where they have dim sum, and like an
look at this.
old-timey-
Come on.
you have the old-timey photos. They had one of those places.
This is a classic.
I got dressed up like an emperor. This woman is an emergency room surgeon. at a trauma center in Atlanta, Georgia. She was the faculty advisor for the medical portion of the trip.
Wow.
This is Brianne Loya, who's a grade school teacher and was a student finishing up her college. She's from Seattle, Washington, actually Olympia. And she and I have started a program that we're going to send books and media to a grade school we visited in Xi'an, a Chinese to English program, because we saw a classroom where they taught it, and the books they need better. If they're really going to learn conversational English, they need better stuff. And for about $600 or $700, we can send them what they need. So we're getting that going.
Oh, that's great.
And we mentioned
Wonderful.
Steve Fredericks. We're going to get the Alumni Association to chime in on that with a little bit of
That's
money, hopefully.
terrific.
I think I just put him on the spot.
I love it. Do it.
There's a little fit. These are some fishing boats in the Kowloon area. That's a water taxi, that guy right there, with a lot of tires on the side.
Good old tires, yeah.
Some artwork in
Just
the
look at this.
floating
Just look
restaurant.
at it.
Look at that. Isn't that something? That's pretty cool.
Oh, my.
You can see that from Victoria Peak when it's lit up at night. And there is that is the restaurant. And look at all this. Look at all this.
Oh, I'm looking at it, man. I'm trying to drink it all in.
Well, that's in one of the boats. I believe that I have the Great Buddha on here. Let's see. Well, we went to the beach one day, and that was while we were in Hong Kong. It was gorgeous. See, there's some blue sky
Yeah.
and some
yeah,
puffy
yeah,
clouds.
yeah.
That's not pollution. That was also on a Saturday too. So, and in Beijing, it's alternate day driving. You have
Oh, it is.
license.
I
Yeah, you have
I knew
license
that.
plates.
I had forgotten that.
You
yeah.
cannot drive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Little funny thing, right? Little,
That's cool.
This is Lantau Island. This will be the Buddha. You're going up this tram that goes up this island to a couple of different things. There's another side of Hong Kong. There's the Great Buddha, which is a bronze statue that's kind of like the Statue of Liberty, only not quite that big. But it was about 20 years in the planning, took 3 years to build, and it's truly magnificent. These are the grounds. The gate on the ground. You climb these stairs, and it's like, there they are. And it's like, oh my God, to get to the top of them. And I'm like, I need a bottle of water. Well, as luck would have it, they sell it there.
Yeah.
So,
You had some yen by then, did you?
yeah. And it's nice and cold, and water's cheap. You can get 3 of them for like $2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's pretty good.
That's great. Look at this.
It was amazing. And this was part of the, you're like free-range chicken when we went to Hong Kong. We had no academic criteria to meet, so you did what you want. And some kids, they stayed out and the night before and got drunk, and then when they got up at 1 o'clock in the morning, we were on our way back from this, so they missed this, and that's sad. But okay, you're only young once.
Look at this.
Some statues on the observation deck, and I think this is Hong Kong at night. Yeah, look at that.
Look at this.
That's something.
Oh my God! Did you take this picture?
I took every picture you just saw,
Oh,
and I
think
I have
you could
1,000.
plan for 6 months and get a rotten shot, and you could just put your camera up and take this shot. That's the beauty of it. Look
that
at
was
this.
something. That's
It
Hong
looks
Kong
like
at night.
it looks like the colors have been painted in.
I know.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
amazing. It was
Peter, that's
breathtaking.
beautiful.
So the important thing is that other kids watching, other kids and adults watching this program, they can go on this trip. But here's the caveat: you have to have good grades. You have to be in PTK. You have to be nominated by either the organization, which is what happened to me, or someone in the organization, or a graduate. Like I can nominate people now. Also, this is a 2-year college program. There were no BAs, no 4-year school kids with us. They were all
That's a
community college, and
excellent point to make.
everyone was a member of Phi Theta Kappa too. And it's an international organization. The members from the other countries are all members of PTK.
A program
so you
like
can do
this
that.
is bound to inspire people. It inspires me, and I'm just an old guy. But for young people watching this, so they can have something to strive for. You mentioned the magic word, good grades, 2 words. You know, you try to tell your kids from the time they're small, you want to go to a good college? I can't afford it. Get some good grades. Excel in something.
That's the key. And you know what? And not only for an opportunity like this, but for scholarship money.
Yeah.
When you apply for a
Oh, yeah.
scholarship, I applied for, and you know, I'm gonna do a little promotional ad right here. One work source gave me close to $5,000 in scholarship
kidding.
over 2
And
years.
I'm glad you said that.
And they're a wonderful, and I've steered some kids in their direction. But I told them, when you come, if you've come to college, like I was an older person, I come back, and you know, I have a BA from the University of Albany. I got it in 1991, so my grades don't really reflect anything that would help me towards a scholarship. So I had to go for my first semester and get good grades. I got on the president's list, and then I went to one work source, and they said, "Oh, we see the program here, and we'll get back to you." Got back to me in a day because they wanted
See
to check
that?
my GPA.
There you go.
And they said, "We'll give you $2,200 this year to go to school." And then I got it again. And then I got $3,000 to go to China. And I don't believe I would have received any of that money had I not had good grades.
Yeah.
So, and I've told these kids that I befriended at the school that get that first semester and study hard the whole time, but really, really bear down. And when you have that GPA in your hand, and you become a member of the Honor Society, because they'll get you 3.5 and above. The school will find you and ask you if you want to become a member. The doors open, and they stay open as long as you have good grades. And I can't stress that enough. You can do this. You know, a friend of mine said once, when we were going through this process step by step, and it's a quote that I have used a number of times, and I'll continue to use it, is the answer is always no until you ask the question. I'm like, wow, you're brilliant. You need to win an award for that quote.
But I think you proved it over and over in the last hour on this show. You proved it.
It
That
really
door
is the key.
That door was probably ajar for a lot of people watching this program, and they're now trying to reach around and kick their own butts for not taking advantage of it.
You know, if there are any students that are interested, you can send me an email at workingscript, all one word, workingscript@outlook.com. I'll answer any questions. I'll help you out. Not a problem at all. Workingscript, all one word, at outlook.com.
So it was an amazing experience which you never dreamed of 1 year ago.
Oh God, no.
Are you kidding me?
I never thought I'd be sitting here telling you I went to China and I applied for a position in this company and maybe going back as a staff member.
You know, there are opportunities lurking around every corner,
Absolutely.
and you have to pay attention. This is my hue and cry, my mantra, if you will. Pay attention, or you're going to miss an opportunity. You're going to miss a beautiful picture. This will be in my. I'll dream about this picture tonight, because I've never seen a vista quite like that.
Isn't it something?
Anywhere. But you got me. You
That's
got
great.
me with so many portions of this presentation today. It was important
Well, thank you.
that I come here. Peter, you're an amazing, colorful, interesting guy. What's the next chapter for you?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know if you're familiar with Paul D. Dominicus down
Of
in
course.
the city of Plattsburgh. He's a brilliant young man who helped write the grant to get the Advanced Manufacturing Institute up and running at
Absolutely.
Clinton. He now works for the city, and my wife and I own the building, the Boots Insurance in the Bagel Pit area. I've rehabbed that. It looks nice. Right next to it is that old bank building. And for years, there's been like, what are we going to do with it? A restaurant this, a restaurant that. Well, Paul and I and Steve Fredericks, bringing his name back into it with the foundation, what I'd like to see happen and what we'd like to see happen is a business incubator in that building. The three of us went to Clarkson University and talked to Matt Draper, who they have an incubator space. And what an incubator space is, if you have a small business idea, but you can't afford a $2,000 storefront right out of college, but you got the idea, you can afford a $500 space. And what they do at Clarkson, they have rooms for manufacturing. You know, you're going to have a Bombardier in there, but these 3D printers, they're you could fit one in
Oh,
this
sure.
room.
Yeah.
Things like that. They get them up they get them going. And Matt Draper said that he has offered us all their expertise at no charge. So
Yes.
we have to get that building purchased, and that's my next thing: getting it purchased and getting a business incubator in there in an hour. In an hour. Talk about right now thinking. By next year at this time, I'll tell you about my summer job at Envision and announce that we're probably going to open the doors for an incubator in
Isn't
a
that
few
wonderful?
months. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. You're still a young guy. The sky's the limit.
It is.
All it takes is an idea. I've heard a lot of your ideas. Some you made quickly, some you haven't quite achieved.
Right. Things
But you're
take
still
time.
in
Some
good
things
shape.
take time.
Like an excellent point. If we leave with words of wisdom, it'll be for people to pay attention to what's out there. And next time your kid comes in from high school and said, "There's nothing to do in this damn town," guess what? Pay attention. Start talking to Peter. Take a ride. You can drive up on the bluff and take a look around Clinton Community College.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
I know, in spite of the fact that Calvin and I have been there dozens, maybe hundreds of times, just because I love it up there, and I've had kids and told people about it and promoted all the time. There are people watching this program who don't even know that place is there.
It's true.
And once you, on a beautiful summer day,
It's
you
an-
stand
it's
up there on the bluff
inspiring
and look
place.
out, look over Lake Champlain, and you think about the history right there within your vista.
The Battle of Plattsburgh.
Battle of Valcour,
The
even before
Battle of
that.
Valcour. You got Revolutionary War,
Oh.
War of 1812 history right there, right around the corner. McDonough pulls off the greatest move in U.S. Navy history, spinning that ship around and letting loose on the British. It's amazing. No, we have such a rich American history base up here, and that's another thing I don't think gets promoted enough. We
We
do a
tried. God
good
knows we tried.
we
Calvin and
do
I.
a good job on the War of 1812, but there are other things that we could point to and maybe turn it into a tourist industry that I think we're lacking. That would be
If
something
our
we need to
viewers
improve on.
had the access of nothing else in the world except Calvin Castine's hometown cable archives,
there's a lot
when
of
you
stuff there.
consider 20,000 or so things since he started. But I talk to you and it just opens up the floodgates. Standing on that bluff, taking a walk down through the woods, worrying about Calvin stepping on poison ivy, getting over to the golf course and know that Babe Ruth walked that same path down through there.
3 presidents.
And the history of that property.
Right. You
Since
know
the
who's
very
good with that too is Steve Fredericks.
Oh, Steve, yeah, well,
He's a wealth of knowledge, and that'll be part of the 50th anniversary of the
Yeah,
college.
that's
We're gonna bring a lot of that forward. It was Steve and I.
well, I was
and
lucky
other
enough
people
to
too.
serve on the foundation up there for a long time and then move forward. But I love that place. But I love every quadrant of Clinton County, and I knew nothing about the northern tier until I met this guy behind the camera back up there. So, he deserves a lot of accolades and medals on his
Absolutely.
chest for covering the history, and you for re-inspiring me today. This was just
Well, that's great. I'm glad I
fabulous.
could do that. That's fun.
So who knows what the future's going to be for you?
Who knows? We march forward.
I wonder if people could go on the website and watch the first couple of shows we did with Peter. You think they're available anywhere? Not yet. If we live long enough, we'll tell you how to do that. Peter Regnier, let me shake your hand.
Thank you, Gordy.
so much
It's always a pleasure.
for inviting me up Route 9 in Champlain in this beautiful old 1919, you said? House?
1919, I think
1919
it's
house.
1920, but it might have been 1919. This used to be the old Goki farm. The buildings behind the house that we can't see don't belong to us because we're not farmers. Joe Guerin, who lives across the road, he owns that. He stores equipment back there and stuff. But Bernice DeMars, who lives across the road from us, she grew up in this house, actually.
Oh my, with stories?
Years ago, obviously. This was part of a much bigger farm.
If these walls could talk, and you know me writing ghost stories, etc., I love to listen to see if the walls can talk. let me know if anything goes.
I haven't heard
bump in
any
the
bumps in the night.
You
but
haven't
I'll
yet.
call you right away.
night. Peter, thanks so much for inviting us back.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Calvin, for running that camera low these many years. Thanks to all of our viewers for your comments and suggestions. And the way I end all these programs is, who knows where we're going to be next time for our little corner.